Good evening, my inky friends. It's Rob. Long time no chat. I haven't made a video in a little while because I was starting to feel a little bit repetitive with doing the same kind of things over and over again, so I thought today I would change it up. I walked into the Kinokuniya bookstore in Johns Creek, Georgia, which is my local stationery shop, and they just happened to receive a shipment, and in that shipment they received exactly one Hobonichi A6 cover featuring Tomi, and I just happened to be walking past the table when they put it out for display, and I immediately and quietly put it in my cart and ran to pay for it. So it is now mine, and as far as I know, this is the only one in the entire state of Georgia. Hiroko, the store manager, told me that they only got one, so that's why I think it might be the only one. Anyways, this journal cover will be used to house my Hobonichi Avec, which I'm using as my therapy journal. I'd already started this, so I had every intentions of continuing in this particular journal, but it came with a journal inside of it, and so I decided to use that journal, repurpose it, and I've stamped the sides of it. Let's see if I can get this to show up. I've stamped the sides of it with some ink stamps from the Coffee Monsters Co. Boy, the lighting on this really doesn't do it justice. There we go, there's some multicolored ink stamps with the Coffee Monsters Co. emoji and a little bottle of ink. Oh, I wish this was showing up a little better, but it's really cute in person. What I thought I would do, I'm going to turn this into my Inkorama book. And when I get a new ink, I'm going to throw it in this book. This is Tomoe River paper, and allegedly in the 2026 version, the snafu paper has been resolved. So this should give fantastic ink results, especially for unique inks like sheening inks or shading inks or shimmer inks. So on the perpetual calendar, on the first available day, I will put the name of the ink. And I will flip to the monthly calendar, and I'll put a nice healthy ink swatch on that date, wherever it was. So these won't be in any particular order. I imagine that these will be done as I purchase them, so kind of no rhyme or reason, just whatever ink floats my boat that day, and it'll just be a hodgepodge, but I'll be easily able to track them with this index in the front. I'll see a nice swatch, and then I'll go to that day and I'll write a little blurb, something that I have found on Mountain of Ink or Ink Dependent Mike's website, or there's a bunch of others that I've been discovering lately where people give really thorough, in-depth reviews. I might write a little blurb about what they thought, give them credit where credit is due, or I may try my hand at drawing a picture to show off some of the features of the ink, and you'll get to see me use some different tools. I thought I would do a sample for you today using an oldie but goodie Emerald de Chivor from J. Harbon's 1670 collection. These are the Coffee Monsters Co. stamps that I used to create this book. I used this little guy, the ink stamp. He's got a cute emoji hiding behind an ink bottle and a fountain pen. And then I used these letters to create the Inkorama front page label, just with a black ink from VersaChalk stamp pad. So that's how I've decorated it for now. I might go a little crazy later on, but let me show you what I was thinking as far as how I'll use this. Emerald de Chavour is both a shimmer ink and a sheening ink. It's a beautiful teal, and it's got a really vibrant pink, almost magenta sheen to it. And it's got gorgeous emerald shimmer in it. You have to agitate your ink bottles that have shimmer in it to get that shimmer to float and suspend through the ink. And pro tip, if you're going to be doing something like I'm doing, you're going to want to recap your bottle and agitate it fairly often because that shimmer settles pretty quickly. It's heavy. This also means that if you've got this in a fountain pen, which by the way, you should be using a fountain pen that is easily disassemblable so that you can clean the working parts easily, and with a medium nib or larger to show off the unique ink properties. Nibs that are smaller than that do not work well with unique inks like shimmers and sheens. But you'll have to agitate those pens as well. So you would basically take your pen that's loaded with this ink already and gently roll it upside down and right side up a couple of times. And you'll want to do that every few lines that you write to get that shimmer to redistribute throughout the ink. You can see how quickly it was starting to settle there. So I've got a couple of different tools that I'll use. This is a Pilot Iro Utsushi dip pen. That is a fine tip, and I'm sorry, that's a medium tip, and that writes a really nice line. Holds a surprising amount of ink. I have my Kakimori dip nib pen set in a Tachikawa wooden handle that's got a rubber grip that's very comfortable to hold. That's useful for laying down large swabs of ink. I've got a very sturdy, I think it's called a borosilicate glass stir rod. This is what's used in chemistry labs. It's non-corrosive, it's very indestructible, and it's curved on the end, so I can use this to dip in and do nice designs on the page. And then I've got just a flat watercolor brush and a round barrel water brush. This is a size 8, and this is a 1/2 inch flat. I'll give a couple of these tools away today. And just in the time that I spent showing you those tools, that shimmer has already settled. That gives you a nice frame of reference for how quickly that settles and how often you need to agitate this. So first I need to decide where I want to start my swabs, because this particular book, there's a little bit of crossover. It starts December 25th, then jumps into 26, but it does go through at least part of 2027, I believe. Yeah, the first 3 months of 2027. I don't think I want to waste any pages in this book, so I'd like to start in December 2025. I just want to make sure, yes, that is December 2025, so I can do ink swatches here. And then in the daily pages, let's just make sure it starts in December. It does not. It starts January 1st. So I guess Hobonichi's thought process is you can plan December 2025 in your new planner, carry over the previous year's ideas and thoughts that needed to move forward in the year, and put that in the perpetual calendar and in the monthly calendar. But for your dailies, you would start in January. So I will skip this column, and I'll start using the January column and also the January month page. So on this page, I was just going to use a dip nib pen instead of filling up a fountain pen and going through all of that rigmarole. I'm just going to put the name of the ink, and I don't have a whole lot of room here, so I'm really just going to put the name of the ink and not the brand. And this is a medium nib, so we may be able to see some of the shimmer and ink properties. my hope is that I use these inks often enough that I will know that Emerald de Chivor is from the J. Herbon 1670 collection. I also have a glass jar of water and an ink rag so that I can clean my tools in between uses. I'm very particular about pen hygiene because I spend a decent amount of money on my tools and I want to keep them for a while. So my shimmer has already settled, so before I move on, I'm going to agitate again. That will also give this a chance to dry. Sheening inks are notorious for taking a little bit of time to dry. Looks like it's dry. So we'll pop on over to January, but I think just to be safe, let me grab a piece of blotting paper. I'll just lay that down so that it doesn't transfer if it's not fully dry. It's already settled. Re-agitate. For doing ink swatches, I usually use one of these two. See, that didn't break even though I dropped it. One of these two tools. I've really been liking this glass one, so I'll use that. I go all the way to the bottom to make sure I get some of that glitter that may have sunk down. A big blob like this will take a long time to dry, but it will also give us a good indication about how well they have controlled this paper with their new formulation. So I'm going to pause the video while this dries and I'll come back to you. Alright, we are back. I'll just lift this up so that you can see, hopefully, a little bit of that magic. Look how pretty that is. That ink is really a stunner. It's no wonder that it has been a cult classic since its release. Well, it's been a little while now. Alright, so let's move on to the next thing. I will again move my blotting paper over. So this first entry is going on January 1st, even though today is not January 1st. I'm not using this in date order. I'm just using the first available spot. So went onto Mountain of Ink and I printed out the blurb that Kelly, the grande dame of the Mountain of Ink, wrote. She ended her review with this, so I just thought that I would transcribe her review because it doesn't get much better than her review. And maybe in a future review, I'll attempt a drawing of some sort. But let's just keep this first go around easy. Apologies in advance for my atrocious handwriting. having a moment of hesitation because I think that I might be mixing her name up. I'm pretty sure this is Kelly from Mountain of Ink, not Lisa. I think I might be mixing her up with Olive Octopus. I'm so sorry, ladies. My only excuse is it's really late, and I've had very little sleep, so apologies. I'll give this a chance to dry, and then I'll let you guys look at it. So yeah, I think this is going to be a fun new project to do this year, because this full page gives me ample space to check out all of these beautiful properties. Look at all that sheen and shimmer. Now, when this ink is in an actual fountain pen, you won't get this kind of start and stop, light and dark effect that you would get like an old-fashioned quill and bottle of ink. That sort of thing happens when you're using a dip nib because you have to keep dipping your nib, but in a fountain pen, your reservoir will always have it. You will have to remember to rotate your pen and agitate it pretty frequently to get that shimmer to be consistent throughout your writing, but small price to pay for that kind of gorgeousness. And check out that swab. Oh my gosh, this ink. Every time I look at it, I think, wow. So that's going to be my Inkorama book. I've got the months, I've got a whole year full of days, and I've got about a kajillion bottles of ink, so that's going to be a fun new project for me. I'm glad I thought of that. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, go ahead and hit all the buttons. Give me a like, follow, subscribe. Write me some comments if you've got suggestions on inks that you would like to see me do. That would be fantastic. I love interacting with the viewers, and answering comments is one of my favorite pastimes. So please leave me any and all comments you can think of. And go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Take care of yourself and take care of each other. Have a great day.